such an asshole.
Oh, late night, Cappy. I just finished Jack Reacher. The TV show is good. Dear shortest stalk of celery in the bunch. I've been watching your videos for a few years now and read some of your books, but this is my first time requesting a video response. Yes, I want an effing video response. That's the kind of response I want. Somebody watched my video about following instructions. Good for you, sir. Just a little bit of my background. I work at an awesome company in insurance. I'm just going to say you work in insurance. I'm going to say what capacity to regard. You work at a company you very much enjoy. You endorse it highly. You speak highly of it, and you enjoy your job. So I'm just going to skip to your request because I would like to have you remained employed. Here's the meat of my request. I'm making a handsome salary. Plus, I have a small LLC on the side where I profit for a little bit too, but not too much, putting just a little into six-figure territory. All right, thank God you're in insurance and not a writer. I've worked in food service and factories and shit most of my life, making $10 to $16 an hour. So this is an incredible amount of money to me, especially as someone who never went to college. Good for you. I think there'll be a trend is the people who don't go to college will start making more money. However, one thing is beginning to worry me. It's not the AI thing that either replaces my job or doesn't. If it does, I think it will be quite a while before it does because insurance contracts can be pretty nuanced. What I am worried about is the increasing frequency of bullshit in major Democrat utopias, BLM riots, burning down buildings, civil unrest. Don't forget crime. Chad just saw it. He saw it. Guy from Chicago goes into the Walgreens, just loads up a shopping cart, walks right out. Nobody stopped him. Walmart just shut down their neighborhood Walmart, which is not the big one. It's the one that's most profitable in a major metro that you can do. Hell, Walmart shut, I think, 2 down in the Minneapolis area. Yeah. I'm worried about the frequency of bullshit in major Democrat utopias, BLM riots, burning down buildings, civil arrest. All these things, when they happen, cause us to shut down most lines of business, anything having to do with property coverages and property liability coverages until it's over. Same with hurricanes, fires, trail derailments like the one in Ohio, etc. So you're saying Democrats and their voters are just like hurricanes, fires, trail derailments, and other acts of destruction. And you are correct. I think it was Ronald Reagan. He said, if I want to destroy a country, I'd install communism. And that's what the Democrats are. Maybe not full-blown communists, but definitely socialists. They open back up business after, but some areas and zip codes in major cities get declined based on crime score. Doobie, dabby, doobie. Are you saying insurance companies are in the business of making a profit? And I'm no big fan of insurance companies right now. Not at all. I'm all for them making a profit. I'm all for them providing a service, but you got to like honor your contracts. But are you saying that the investors, the people who own the insurance company you work for, they expect to have a positive rate of return on the money they invested? No kidding, really. That's going to be a problem for Democrats now, isn't it? I'm noticing more and more of these declines over time in more and more places. Seattle, Baltimore, San Francisco, Brooklyn. Why not just New York? Do you think as this shit gets worse, my job in general may be in jeopardy of becoming unfeasible? We're kind of you have higher underwriting standards, and I feel things are getting worse and worse. Do you think the culture is beginning to shift the other direction, i.e. Bud Light, Rich Man and Richmond? Target boycotts, etc. Do you think the pendulum will slowly swing back to more normalcy, or do you think we will continue to see a decline? And do you think I should be concerned about this? You're a minimalist. You're just renting a room. Blah 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 blah. Just to skip, just for your own info. And then you go on to tell me some other things that aren't germane to this. You just provide me added information. Yeah, to help. I'm not kidding, dude. You need to learn to write better. Yeah. You're fine with the writing, but if you want to advance in your career, I'm just saying take a writing course, be a little more succinct. All right, let's go to your questions here. Do you think as this shit gets worse, my job in general may be in jeopardy or becoming unfeasible? All right. No, I don't think so. And the reason why is that the amount of productive people, the amount of GDP producers, etc. Like for example, I'll give you an example. I believe it was Saks Fifth Avenue closed their downtown San Francisco branch, and what they did is they went they sent other people elsewhere. They opened up suburbanite branches, maybe even rural, but Saks Fifth Avenue wouldn't do that. In other words, you can take all the Democrat policies and drop trowel and have Ocasio-Cortez shit out her Democrat policies right on downtown San Francisco. It's going to push people away. It's called capital flight. You're not killing the productive members of society. You're scaring them away to different places, and they will go and they will produce. So in other words, I don't think that the overall economy that insurers are going to have to insure is going to go down. It might atrophy or plateau as we teach more and more young people that they don't have to work for a living and socialism is great and all that. And you get more like whiners and, oh my goodness, I have the Skippy money. But right now, just because there's crime and Democrats stealing things and stabbing people and all that, and the Democrat politicians are masturbating to it at home, that doesn't mean there isn't capital flight. It goes elsewhere. And so overall, in a macroeconomic view, on an aggregate, I don't think the insurance industry really has to worry about it. But you're darn right. You're darn right. Democrat cities, over enough time, all right, but especially the major ones, Democrat shitholes, yeah, they're going to become uninsurable. And you probably know this better than me because you're in the industry. But what limited knowledge I have of insurance and underwriting and actuarial science and statistics, I mean, you're not going to immediately leave town. Insurance premiums will go up. You'll do some math and say we got to charge our premiums this much to cover our current losses that we have to pay out. We're going to take a look at different metrics like the crime score. Oh, did you Democrat people not know about that? You didn't know that multi-billion-dollar corporations that insure the entire country technically kind of look to see whether or not there's crime and that the stuff they're insuring will or will not get destroyed. They want to assess the statistical likelihood of that. But yeah, definitely different parts, and it's just like, oh, this is flood prone. You're going to pay more for housing insurance. This is fire prone. You're going to pay more for housing insurance. This is Democrat prone. No joke. You Democrats, you are like locust. You're like fire. You're like floods. You destroy things. Maybe not the hardworking blue-collar Democrats at the time. Well, I'm just here to help the little guy. I didn't mean to set buildings on fire. Yeah, well, talk to the remaining 85% of your teammates over there. Yeah, absolutely. And we may be talking about property insurance for homeowners is one thing, but as I talked about capital flight before, what is going to be left to insure in a major metropolitan area? Yeah, I know people are going to live there. They live there, but look at Detroit. What businesses still remain there from, say, the 60s or the 70s? The businesses have moved on. So there's not even going to be businesses to insure there. So there's no business insurance, or at least commercial property to insure. The property values. I know a lot of you say, well, property values in leftist shitholes aren't going down. You're right. We print off a lot of money. All right. But give it enough time and give it enough crime. Look at Detroit. Like what you're insuring, the market value of what you're insuring is going to go down. So either the businesses leave completely, or inevitably over time, there's going to be enough capital flight, and the people remaining, whether it's slumlords or people who buy the houses and don't maintain them, because, well, let's admit we're Democrats, and why would we work hard to maintain our own home? I mean, what can't you get? What's the market price for a house in Detroit right now? What's the market price for a house on the south side of Chicago? What is it? So I don't think there's going to be that much of an asset to insure anymore. That being said, for every thousands of dollars of market value in assets, I'm sure your premiums per $1,000 is going to go up, and that will show and reflect in rent. All you Democrats who can't afford rent, well, maybe you should, one, stop burning down your buildings. I don't know how lodging works, but maybe you shouldn't burn your buildings down. Two, stop fluffing the dicks of college students and colleges. Start pushing trade schools so there's more carpenters. Three, make it so that you have not stupid idiot San Francisco levels of red tape to go and build something new. And then four, get rid of rent controls so that contractors, builders could come in and build your more property to help alleviate and bring about affordable housing. Because I'll tell you this, none of you Democrats, none of you, whether you're the city, take the most powerful people in Minneapolis or any major city, you guys are not going to be part of the solution. It's real men and women who work as contractors and builders who are actually going to build the housing. You guys are just going to sit there and twiddle your twats and bitch and whine about rich people. You're not actually going to build the housing. You don't have that skill or talent. You're professional white-collar panhandlers. But in the meantime, as they let crime happen, as they stop building roads and make more whatever scooter paths and bike lanes, and they make it more and more difficult for people to want to live there, people will leave. If crime gets bad enough, it will be gutted like Detroit, and you won't have a Silicon Valley to bolster property prices. It will become a Cleveland. It will become a Detroit. It will become, I'm trying to think of other, Philadelphia. All right. And then you'll be like, oh, do you want to insure this? Well, it's 1/5 its original value from 20 years ago. So I don't think the asset value is going to be there for insuring. But from a commercial standpoint, oh yeah, there's not going to be what business is going to set up shop? Aren't they closing that way? Hang on, didn't Portland just shut down? REI shut down their Portland branch, right? So as economic productivity leaves, as the productive cash flow generating people leave, the asset values are going to go down, and they're not going to be that much to insure. So I think that is going to play a role. But yeah, crime. Why would you? Why? And yeah, I could see they're just going to have a red zone. There'll be a map. They got some computer graphic software that does heat maps and like, okay, here's where all the crime is. And then someone's going to come in, and actuary's going to come in and says, on that side of the line, we can make money by insuring people. On this side, no, I don't think so. So yeah, absolutely. Where you have petulant little children committing crime and burning down their buildings and attacking, politically, I mean, productive members of society and especially businesses, unless it's cute businesses. Unless they come on down, get a biscotti. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to think. Didn't McDonald's and Boeing leave Chicago? Give it time. Give it time. So I don't think there'll be an economy. One, you're not going to want to because it won't be profitable. And two, there won't be much left of anything to insure, certainly not by market value. So yeah, but I don't think that's going to have an effect on your job. You're not going to, and it's not going to happen overnight. And as I said, well, the productive people will just go elsewhere. All right, go down. Like what? I mean, the South kind of capitalized. This doesn't have anything to do with crime or Democrats. Well, I guess the unions maybe, but the motor auto manufacturing headed south. Memphis, Nashville, Atlanta, though that's not Tennessee. There can be booming, growing cities, major metropolitan areas where there is economic production, where there are people. Miami, Florida, all Florida is just going to become one big old parking lot. So I think there are other not leftist shitholes that are major metropolitan areas where the people work and they're not burning the buildings down. But it's Texas, Dallas. But it ain't gonna be your Marxist Democrat controlled ones. I mean, I'm wondering what the price I could look it up. Someone go grab CBRE's report on San Francisco vacancy rates. I'd love to see it. And inevitably that's going to spill out into asset values. But yeah, I don't think your job's going to become your job's going to go away. I don't think so. But I do think Democrat towns are going to become uninsurable, or they're certainly going to pay more. I mean, you destroy property, guess what? Insurance premiums go up. Oh my God, and yes, it's the evil Republicans in the Senate who did that to them, of course. And I feel things are getting worse and worse. Do you think the culture is beginning to shift the other direction? And then you provide examples of where corporations have gone woke. I don't know what the rich man in Richmond is. I don't know what that is. But you give example of Target and Bud Light. No, it's not going to go the other direction because the population is not going that direction. Now, corporations may stop shoving transgender in our face all the time. They might back off on that. But you have to understand the general trend in the United States is the general trend that human nature will slouch, and that is laziness and not working. And you have all the teachers and all the modern day parents anyway, like, oh my goodness, you're just entitled and deserving of everything. And it's the evil Republicans in the Senate. And the most important thing about you is the traits you were born with. And yeah, this is not the 1980s where people are cheering on Reagan and capitalism. This is a bunch of sad, pathetic, broken human beings that are called modern day Americans who all they got is, I don't want to work, give me money. And the teachers and professors, I mean, because parents are going to raise their kids, right? Most of the parents are going to be socialists, Democrats anyway. Oh, it's really important you be a socialist and a Democrat because that's the most important thing in the world. Tanner and Bipsy, what are they named millennial parents nowadays? All right. So the kids are going to grow up to be leftists. So no, the country's not waking up. The new adults that are coming online are just as Democrat as they always have been. They're not going to vote for independence and hard work and cutting the welfare state. They're not going to vote for being hard on crime. They're not going to vote to be the fatherly, negative reinforcement, punishing conditioning that we need to get Americans back on the straight and narrow. It's going to be more the positive reinforcement, motherly bribing with cake. And guess what happens? I guess more people are going to be diagnosed with mental disorders and they need disability checks, right? Let me guess, your 34-year-old who still lives at home is still trying to find himself there, Becky, right? So no, the pendulum is not swinging back. There is not going to be an increase in labor force participation rate with the younger generations. It will continue to go down. Women are not going to wake up and say, oh my God, we've treated men like utter shit these past 50 years. Maybe we should treat them nice and kind and get thin and hot so they go back and get invigorated and fire up those old school masculine economic. And no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So I said, there's still production out there. There's still people who work. There's still working class. They're just going to go elsewhere. And that's where you will insure them. So instead of insuring, companies in Chicago proper, you will insure companies in Hoffman Estates or Schaumburg. You won't be insuring companies in Minneapolis and St. Paul. You'll be insuring companies and properties in Bloomington or Eden Prairie or something like that. Or do you think we will continue the decline? We will continue the decline until the food and the electricity runs out. And there's an entire generation of starvation people. And then there will be no government aid. There will be no welfare. You will get a welfare check, but it will buy nothing. And then as people are starving and there is no electricity and there are riots and there's no law anymore, then people might get like, hey, what's the best way to run a society? It might take a full generation of that because they'll be told, oh, the capitalism has failed us. It's like, not with 40% tax rates. That wasn't capitalism. That was not capitalism. Notice in all the Democrat districts, that's where the rioting and the fighting broke out. Okay. The Republican districts were boring and fine and law abiding and productive. That was not a collapse of capitalism. When Singapore collapses, then you can say it's a collapse of capitalism. We do not have capitalism here in the United States. Regardless, I'm just saying it's going to be at least a generation of pain and misery, and just kind of like it took the Soviet Union 70 years to decline. And hey, did you know this dirt cookies and starvation and having the standards of living of only 25% the Americans kind of sucks? It gets cold here in Russia. Then maybe, but no, not in any medium or long term horizon of your career. And do you think I should be concerned about this? Not from a career standpoint. I don't really think so. I think there still be a need for insurance. You're not in charge of where you insure. That's for the higher ups to determine over at the company you work for. I would maybe move to a like depending on where you work. Like if you're in, and I don't know how your insurance company works. I don't think. I mean, just because let's say you're in. I'm trying to think of a crap hole. Let's say you're in San Francisco. You're not, but let's say you are. Does your insurance company San Francisco office, is it dependent upon the San Francisco economy? If that was the case, yeah, get the hell out. But if you're doing underwriting and there's like a national underwriting hub, I don't think you have to move because the underwriting processing facility is dependent upon the nationwide. And they'll be up for your long-term planners and strategists to figure out where you're going to insure, where you're not going to insure. So I can't imagine. So like if you're geographically dependent upon an area because of your job, and that area is becoming a Marxist Democrat shithole, yeah, you want to go like no, I want to go wherever there's growth. Texas, Florida, Bama, Mississippi, Tennessee. But if you're worried about this, I live cheaply. You are renting a room for very, very affordable. You drive an old vehicle. That's great. You spend less than $1,000 a month. That's great. And you should be doing that anyway. It's good to be a minimalist. Save your money. Do you have a diversified investment portfolio to hedge against hyperinflation? Do you have a little bit of crypto? Do you have silver? Are you looking to buy property? Right. So that you've managed your personal finances to hedge against a host of things, getting laid off, inflation, and everything like that. Being a minimalist, but yeah. Otherwise, is your insurance company going to go belly up? No, I don't think so. It's probably not, because it sounds like they're actually serious about insurance, and they're just going to leave the markets where the insurance is not profitable. So there we are. I'm wondering, like, am I? Hear me out on this. Just follow me in on this, everybody. So, me as a 20-something, I legit knew more and would have been a better president and CEO than like 95% of the banks out there building up to the housing crisis. That's not a testament to how good I was. It's a testament to how bad banking and financial management, how the leaders of banking and finance were in the United States at that time. I'm not joking. That's a 100% truthful statement. It's not even an opinion. But now I knew banking was bad, obviously, but it always made me question and kind of realize that most of American business managers, most of our leaders don't know jack fuck all shit. You guys are dumber than crap. And your firm may be good, sir, but would I be wrong in assuming the corporate leaders of the major insurance companies out there are dumb enough to keep insuring Democrat shitholes? Like, it would just be me as an insurer. Like, let's say we went back to 2020. I was like head of Cappy Insurance. I'd be like I would just say, all right, we're not doing business in California, New York, Massachusetts, whatever pretentious leftist, I guess, Connecticut. We're not doing business in these major metropolitan areas, and there we go, and we're done. Good night, everybody. Am I Would I be in the minority because every modern day corporate executive in the insurance industry, oh, we gotta go in and insure, or are they starting to wake up because they're kind of like the first person to take a financial hit? I'm wondering, hang on, is Lake Street rebuilt? Minneapolis. Wow. Wow. Here's an article written in May, like, 3 months ago. Lake Street and West Broadway are only about 50% rebuilt post up 3 years ago, huh? 3 years ago, and y'all still have burnt down buildings and you haven't built back up. Okay, maybe the insurance companies are getting maybe they are getting smart. Maybe they are getting hip. All right, let's go to the super chats. $2. Florida uninsurable due to the flood? Okay, good, Bob. Thanks. It will uninsurable. Would it should be uninsurable, or you got to pay a high premium, or you got to build a house that somehow is resistance against flood. I'm not kidding. Natural disasters and Democrats. Choose your poison. Your property is going to get damaged either way. My truth, $5. Worst part of it is Karen Exodus, Minnesota, California, or New York, etc., will bring their genius policies to Texas, Florida, Idaho, etc., just like us, the U.S. exported feminism. Yeah, I could see it. I could see it. What are you gonna do about it? It's not gonna end until there's no food and no electricity. And then we can start over again. Because then they won't be the Republicans, oh, white males, oh, capitalism, oh. Let that generation die out, and then their kids and grandkids will be like, boy, I sure would like some food and electricity. And then the common sense might kick in because, like, look, you all been saying that it was the evil Republicans in the Senate for 3 generations now. We still don't have any food. We're so desperate, we might try hard work and equity. Crazy. Yeah. And until the husbands of the Karens, as long as they can, oh, yes, they are. Oh, okay, they are. Until they say, shut the fuck up, Karen. We're voting Republican now. You don't like that? Get out of here. Nothing will change. Michael Jacoby or Jacoby? $2. Night Owl Cappy. Yeah. He's finally got internet up and running. Alex Patino, truck driving Latino agent in the field, $5. Late night Sunday Cappy in case you missed church. I had 2 pretty good originals paid for today. Someone else paid for 2 new ones or a new one. My Truth, the King, $5. Only thing preventing it from flourishing in lesser fiat is lesser fiat printing that subsidizes the welfare state. Perhaps third world reality will buffer poor countries. Yes, well, third world. Look, let us use our good friend Alex Patino, truck driving Latino agent in the field. All right. Alex comes from a Latino background. I'm going to presume Alex was not born Thaddeus McWinthrop III to Connecticut. But have you noticed have you noticed something about Latino males? Have you noticed something about them in America? That they're the only ones that actually know how to build a house, show up sober, on time, do the job? Have you noticed that? In Vegas, it ain't white guys, and certainly ain't white gals out there tending the landscaping. I don't know why they do so much landscaping on the boulevards and the roads. I'm like, why'd you plant a tree there? This is the desert. What are you doing? Well, they got to be maintained and groomed. It's all Latinos doing it. The working people have a work ethic. They know what it means to work and survive and budget. And so, yes, not now, Latinos in a first world state or country, I think they may be second world reality. So it doesn't have to be third world. But yeah, if you're from a working country, that gives you a benefit, that gives you an advantage compared to first world nations. You can't even call them first world, but first world nations where they get by and printing more money and borrowing money and paying foreigners to produce all of our stuff and we import everything. Yes, when economies collapse, you will want to have a population that has a work ethic. Yes. Your highly educated boyfriend, ladies, in the United States with his MBA and his undergrad in international relations is not going to be able to do anything to help you when the electricity goes out. But Pablo the plumber or Bob the carpenter, they'll be actually be able to build a house. Oh, no, carpenter. Oh, and Pablo's only 5'5". He's from Ecuador. Ew. Enjoy being homeless, bitch. I love to see you magically turn your women's studies degree into lodging right now. Ass bucket, $5. 8 people shot earlier tonight at Chicago Avenue and Franklin in Minneapolis. Oh, and they say the city is growing, vibrant, and a place to be. Enjoy the decline. Oh, that's great. Minneapolis can keep cheering us on. Crime has gone down a little bit in Minneapolis if you look at the statistics. Well, I'm for facts. Crime has gone down a bit. But now with that data, 8 people shot. Chicago and Franklin. That's a little bit to the east of Sebastian Joe's. That's oh well. I dated a girl in Elliott Park. That's kind of the area that you're. There's MIA is out there. This girl took me to a art thing at the MIA, and it was all about pregnant women. It was all pictures of pregnant women. She said, "Aren't they beautiful?" I'm like, "They're gross." What are you talking about? I did not get laid that night. Hatton clogs $2. Why are you up? Go to sleep, old man. I'm up because the work got to get done, and the internet works now. The internet is working now. Neiman. Hope I pronounced that right. €2. Let them be burned by what they allow to develop. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think there should not be cops. You're right. You shouldn't have cops. You should not have cops. You should have as many bike lanes. You should shut down the roads. So you should have electric cars. You should become San Francisco. You should get all the Democrat policies, all of them. Sam Whiskey, most American name in America. Thank God I'm a workaholic. It keeps me sane and distracts me from the parasites. Right. It just keeps you out of trouble. You don't have to work too much, Sam. I mean, I got 2 books coming out. A World Without Men, an economic analysis of an all-female economy, which is going to lead to the follow-up book. They're intended to be published one right after another. One is read right after the other, and the other is an economy of one. And one of the main theses or points of the economy of one is that it's not so much going off grid. That's certainly it, but you're better off just building your own damn housing. You're better off doing so much stuff on your own because when you're done accounting for taxes and the hurdles required to find employment, to get prestigious employment in the United, you have to have a degree. Look, I'll give you this will be in the book, but it's nothing you wouldn't figure out. If you spent 4 years and the money you borrow to go to college, instead buying materials and homey to pot and putting your own labor into it, you could build yourself a house probably in 2 years. Won't be phenomenal, won't be fantastic, and it won't be good enough for American women, but it would be lodging. And instead of sitting there with $150,000 in debt for a worthless piece of paper, you'd be sitting there with $80,000 of debt and a small little house that you pay whatever the interest rate on 80 grand would be, a fraction, and be a fraction of what you pay for rent. But the Democrats won't let us build the houses we'd like. Well, stop voting Democrat and maybe loosen up the building codes a little bit. Ugh. Sam Whiskey, $10. This is for the chocolate ice cream fund. I pigged out yesterday. I pigged out. I had tiramisu that was very average, but what are you expecting in South Dakota? It's not an Italian joint. But I will have cheat day down the road some other time. City Sleuth, new guy, $5. All the MBAs in my graduating class looked down on us accounting majors. Now they're all unemployed living at home. Did the MBAs look down at the accountants? Did they really? I'm still surprised that people think MBAs are worthwhile. Are people not to say, don't people listen to my show, but isn't it kind of apparent now with the student loan bailouts and now 3 generations before, well, let's say 2, Gen X and the millennials, isn't anyone telling the Zoomers like, hey, MBA is stupid? Don't people listen to Josh Fluke? All right. One more on the way. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.